and welcome to TarValon Talks. In this episode, myself, Fenya, Doll, Dianna, and Dorian are recording live from JordanCon, although you're not actually getting this live because JordanCon is over by this point. And we are going to be talking about the convention. I don't think there's any need for a spoiler warning.
Probably not. But the usual applies, you know. We'll try not to spoil things, but the safest thing to do is to read the books and watch the show, because sometimes we go a little off the rails.
Bruce Willis was dead the whole time.
Spoilers.
We'll do spoilers, but we won't tell you what it's for.
Swordfish cracked it.
Oh my goodness. Okay, we're already off the rails. What a great start to this podcast. Let's talk about our favorite panel that we went to. And I'm going to start with Dorian for this.
How dare you?
You're welcome.
I went to what has now twice in a row been my favorite panel. It is the After Hours Igloo Bond Balefire panel. Last year's was such a treat. I did disturb my co-hosts a little bit. They're not used to my levels of enthusiasm when I'm in the audience.
I wasn't at this panel, so you didn't disturb me there.
I didn't go this year either, so...
I feel a little bad. I know you like it too. I don't want to drive people away.
You didn't drive me away this time. I was busy.
Definitely one of my favorite things about it, and I probably go a little overboard, but I was not the most boisterous person in the room. That's my defense here. It's not much of one, but I suppose I should go into it. The Bond Balefire Igloo is Bang, Marry, Kill for Wheel of Time, any trio of characters. This year they were pulling names randomly out of a jar. We had some interesting combos that definitely made for some good results, and the panelists were just hilarious. We had Dreams of Grendel, Matt from their podcast with Chad. I believe that's Dusty Wheel? No,
I don't think so.
Well, it's our podcast. We don't have to plug anyone else's.
I zoned out. Whose podcast?
Oh, are we recording?
Yes, it's okay. I can edit.
No, that's staying in.
Okay.
Leave it in.
No editing. We'll just put it up.
Yeah. Definitely my favorite bits were because they pulled them truly randomly this year. It was a lot of very lopsided trios. So out comes Min, a polarizing figure. Out comes Alana, a very polarizing figure in the canon of Wheel of Time. And then out comes no one I've ever heard of. One of Valen Luca's assistants from the...
Priceless.
Absolutely so.
The one he married?
Hmm?
Was it the one he married?
No, that's the best part. It wasn't even her.
Just some random circus performer.
Yep. Probably the most controversy. They aligned quite a bit. I think the most controversy was when Semirog, Gawain, and Milana were all came up on a trio. Again, I have not finished the books, but even people on the panel were flummoxed by who. But there was a fierce debate over whether to Igloo or Balefire Gawain between the panelists. And everyone bonded Semirog.
Everyone is going to have a very wild, very short marriage.
I believe that was someone's express desire.
Well, yeah.
And Matt's a big horror trope guy, so their kind of guiding light was who's going to help me take over Randland? That's who I'm bonding.
Oh, it was Matt. It was the Dusty Wheel.
It is the Dusty.
Okay.
Yeah, but that was far and away my favorite, and I'll pass the mic to Fenya.
So my favorite panel was probably the interview with Michael Livingston, as he was the author guest of honor. And he's a really interesting guy, obviously. He answered some fantastic questions from the audience. Normally, I don't like audience questions because sometimes they can be a little sketch, but these weren't. He also recited Green Eggs and Ham in Old English, which is an incredible party trick.
He just whipped that out?
He just whipped that out.
Incredible.
I mean, that is his job.
I mean, it is, but also, like, that's a great party trick.
Yeah, it is.
So I think that was my panel highlight.
I was with my husband this year. My husband attended JordanCon for the first time. He is a show-only person. He has only read through the prologue of The Eye of the World. So he's essentially show-only. So we went to the Wheel of Time for Beginners, a panel that I would never have gone to if he had not attended. And it was a riot. It was two couples who both have first-time read-through podcasts where the husbands have read the series before and the wives are reading for the first time. And so it was the Wheel Takes, I think, was one of them. Yeah. And what's Allie on?
I thought Allie is Wheel Takes.
Allie is Wheel Takes? Oh.
Yeah, Allie and Gus are Wheel Takes, I believe.
Who's Brett and his wife?
That I don't know.
Shout out to literally every other Wheel of Time podcast.
Every other Wheel of Time
there.
podcast. Dorian said we're not plugging anybody, and now we're plugging everybody.
There are so
Is it
many
Wheel
of them.
Weaves?
All
The Wheel Weaves
10,000
is the other
of
one.
you.
Yeah. So it was Wheel Takes and Wheel Weaves. And their rapport together was really funny because they're all friends. My husband asked, I can't get past the prologue. What should I do? And
Skip it.
half of them were like, skip it. And the other half were like, you absolutely cannot skip the prologue of The Eye of the World. And he came out of that panel being like, I don't know. I'm glad I asked that question, but I still don't know what to do.
You know, I talked to him after that, and I'm just going to confess that I was like, you've seen seasons 1 and 2 for the show. I'd just skip Eye of the World at this point and jump straight into Hunt for the Horn.
I feel like he's got to at least have the meet cute. There's a lot in Eye of the World that's not in season 1 and 2. I would almost say just skip to the Dragon Reborn.
This is now an experiment where we see
we
how
try.
meaningful it
We
is.
try my husband on different ways to see if he starts the show.
How much can you condense the Wheel of Time down into a consumable media for somebody who doesn't want to read a long book?
They also had great advice for how to pitch the Wheel of Time to people. They made the great point that we as a fandom are not great at pitching this wonderful book series that we all love. And, that we're all like, yeah, you should read the Wheel of Time, but it's 14 books and the slog and, yada, yada. They were like, the best way to pitch it is to say, just read the first book. If you don't like it after the first book, that's essentially a full story. If you do like it after the first book, then books 1 through 3 are essentially a complete story. And they were like, by the time someone has finished The Dragon Reborn, they're probably in. So then they're probably in the entire the way through. And you've done your job. And I was like, that is so smart. So
That's way better than my pitch.
Wheel of Time for Beginners was a great panel. And I hope they bring it back. What about you, Doll? Did you get to see any panels?
What is your pitch, though? I want to hear it.
Oh, it's Lord of the Rings, but the bad guys are people.
Oh, I actually really like that.
That's not far off, honestly.
It really is a high fantasy epic, and there are orcs and there are monsters and there's magic, but at the end of the day, the real enemy was us all along.
It's true.
Okay. So other than the panels I was working, I managed to get away to attend one panel, and that was Unlocking Shakespeare with Guy Roberts.
I'm so bummed that I missed that one.
It was amazing.
If you don't know this year's special guest, Guy Roberts, actor who plays Uno, what a guy.
He was amazing, and that's one of the things I want to talk about later. Not to get into how amazing he was and how amazing the whole weekend was, but
also, we do have an interview with him.
yes, we do.
That will likely be featured at the end of this episode. So
Yes.
stick around.
Uh-huh.
I got several pictures with him.
I got one as he was leaving for the airport.
And Dianna, you retrieved his handkerchief, is that right?
I did not, but Thad and I did get a picture with him after our interview.
But anyway, this was a panel idea I pitched when we were trying to come up with things he could do. I'm like, he runs the Shakespeare company in Prague. He's a Shakespearean trained actor. And I was like, why can't we just have him do Shakespeare? So he pulled in 5 actors, 3 of which are our friends Jennifer, who runs the Consuite,
Kitty, one of this year's Toastmasters.
yes, one of this year's Toastmasters, and my warder, Riss, and then 2 people that I know I've met before, but I don't know their names. But what he did was he had them cold read a couple of scenes. The first one was from Merchant of Venice, and he had Kitty, Jen, and Riss read different characters. And he had them stop. He explained to us how Shakespeare wrote sentences and what it meant. And like what his choice of syllables meant and other things. And I can't remember any of the details now because I was very tired, and we don't need to go into all of that. But like he explained it and he'd have them read it over and over again. And he'd have people shout out ideas of how it could be played if it was read that way. He did another scene from Hamlet that was a more mature one. That I will not get into detail because he asked us not to record it. So I don't want to put it out on the podcast. But
That's fair.
And that appreciation for different adaptations is something that do we want to segue into just gushing over Guy Roberts for like 5 minutes?
I mean, I guess we could.
Sure. Like we said, we got an interview with him. So I'm going to toot Fenya's horn because we got that because of Fenya. Thank you.
I mean, obviously, if he's going to be there, I'm going to try to make it happen for us.
And not only you succeeded with flying colors. So this was his first fan con that he went to,
Actually,
right?
I was incorrect. He did go to the one to WatCon last year.
Oh, he did. Okay.
Yeah. So it's the second one.
The second one. So he probably did interviews there.
I'm not sure. I don't remember.
I don't think I ever heard anything or saw
I think
anything published. And I feel like we would have.
I don't remember. Somebody told me he went to WatCon, but maybe he's scheduled for this year and I'm wrong.
He is scheduled for this year.
I have a feeling Amazon didn't let him out last year.
He had more fun this year, I'm sure, at JordanCon.
We're going to,
we'll go.
Because we can neither confirm nor deny because we are recording live and don't have phones in front of us or computers in front of us. I'm going to go with this was either his first or his second con. Almost certainly some of his first fan interviews.
Mhm.
And our podcast was the first podcast that interviewed him at the convention. So we got him very fresh and his answers were amazing. I did not realize this. I don't know how many of our listeners realize this, but Guy Roberts was a fan of the books before he even knew about the show. Before the show was even being made, he read through them multiple times. So he's like one of us.
Yeah.
Multiple read-throughs, and not introduced to him by anyone. He saw the original cover of The Eye of the World at a fantasy bookshop, pulled it out like, oh, this might be fun. I have to say my favorite. We alluded to it earlier. When you were talking, Doll, about the Unlocking Shakespeare podcast.
Yeah.
Panel. That he said that all of these interpretations, the adaptations, and Shakespeare's such a great example of that. You see Shakespeare taken to new heights in different contexts with different retellings, men, women, swapping roles, swapping gender dynamics, swapping scenery. And that is an energy he brought to every panel he was at about the Wheel of Time. A new turning of the wheel, adaptation for the show. He's in it, so maybe he's a little biased.
He is explicitly Team Rafe. He said so multiple times, which
100%.
I believe I can at least speak for myself. I am Team Rafe. I think as a podcast, we have been pretty explicitly Team Rafe.
Yeah.
Sorry, people who are not Team Rafe.
I think we're all Team Rafe.
I'm mad about it.
Yeah, so he was good company.
I think my favorite thing he told us about at the very first panel I saw him at was, did he talk about this at the interview about Uno's a rather grisly encounter with the Shanshan?
No.
So he told the story of how that happened. I'll try to keep it condensed here because we got a lot of other stuff we wanted to cover. But he heard it from a makeup person
About Uno's death.
Yes.
He found out he was dying.
6 months prior, Rafe and he had a conversation, and he tells this wonderful story about. I won't. He gushes about Rafe the way we gush about him. Got him dinner, said we need to talk. Which, if you're an actor, you don't want to hear that.
If you're an employee, you don't want to hear that from your employer.
No, you don't want to hear it from anybody.
No, it's just a terrible thing to say. So the fact that Rafe was doing this and had the courage and took the responsibility and said, "Hey, we're gonna have to kill someone this season. Please don't kill me, Rafe."
Well, I think my favorite part about that story is that he was the one who suggested that he come back as the hero of the Horn.
He manifested it.
He did.
He said he brought that energy to his entire performance all season. You can see it.
I mean, I think the reason he's become such a fan favorite. I mean, Uno was always a fan favorite, but he played it up so well. And
I also feel like he interacts so much with the fandom, at least on Twitter. And so it's easy for us to love him when he loves us.
Yeah. I mean, like, there's so much mutual love. This did not come up in our interview, but so before we started recording the interview, he asked, oh, like, tell me a little bit about your podcast and tell me a little bit about you guys, which I thought was such a nice touch that he like wanted to make sure that he knew about us. And I was like, oh, we're TarValon Talks. We're the official podcast of TarValon.net. TarValon.net is. And he was like, oh, I know TarValon.net. I use your guys' library. I love you guys. And I was like, okay, cool. This is home turf. Amazing.
We got to get him on the site.
Oh, man. Guy Roberts, if you're listening, please join the site.
We can make an exception and let him use his name, right? Uno?
Yeah.
He'd be Uno on the site.
Of course.
Okay,
Yes.
all
I
right.
mean, we're not, none of us are in admin.
Mother, when
well,
you listen to this.
I guess technically we're admins,
We're
but
technically,
we're
yeah, we're
admins of this podcast.
we can, we're staff.
Yeah, okay.
Look, I manifested this interview with him. I am manifesting him onto the site.
Wonderful. We love it. We could talk about Guy Roberts for another 30 minutes, but we should continue to talk about the rest of con because more stuff happened than just Guy Roberts at con, including so many incredible costumes. Doll, you ran the costume contest. Tell us about it.
Oh, Lord. I'm not sure if I'm the best one to talk about the actual costume contest because I never actually see it. But yeah, we have a lot of amazing costumes every year. I've been running it for almost maybe a decade now. I really honestly don't remember the time frame.
A decade sounds right based on everything you've told us when you're not running on God only knows how many hours of sleep.
Not enough.
You look good, though.
Do I?
I don't always get to say that because we're not in the same room, and I like to say it.
You look more rested than last year.
That's amazing since I was up way too late.
You and me both.
I saw you, didn't I? Yeah.
And that is the other wonderful thing about JordanCon listeners. If you haven't been here, we go all night.
No sleep.
I think we should plug our friends' costumes for, it was Medusa and the statues.
Oh, yes. Elixir, Tree, and
Alcyon.
Alcyon.
Were Medusa and her stone soldiers, I think was what
Yeah,
it was
the
called.
stoned,
Yeah,
like turned to stone.
Yep.
But they were
stoned.
stoned.
They looked great.
Alcyon freaked me out so bad. He snuck up behind me, and he was full body paint with the gray morph suit and a toga over it. Really cool to see. He snuck up right behind me. I was like, he just breathed in my ear very creepily. It was good.
Oh, no.
And if you don't know, that's usually my move.
You don't have to out yourself like that. It's okay.
Yeah. Well, also, the winners this year are members of the site.
Oh.
It was, I'm trying to think of her name now. I think it is Catherine. Catherine Sadat Red, I think.
That sounds right. I'm sorry if I got that wrong.
Catherine Avery, I believe, is red.
Yeah.
On the site, yeah.
I really hope that's right.
If that's the Catherine you're talking about.
I would trust Fenya because Fenya knows way more about the site than I do.
Somehow. I don't know how.
Because you're on it way more than me.
She was the ringmaster in the tent.
Yes. Yes.
That was
I saw those
incredible.
costumes. Those costumes were incredible.
It was amazing.
If you've ever seen the Nutcracker Ballet, and you know who Mother Ginger is,
Mhm.
it was that, but Val and Luca's circus and a drag. I tried for this analogy, but it's not coming together.
No, you're completely accurate. That's
Accurate.
exactly
It
what
It
it
was
was.
literally
It works.
Val and Lucas Circus.
That was the theme this year.
Yes.
We had
didn't
our
mention that.
ringmasters. We had lots of clowns. Our toastmasters were a circus. Grendel and Lanfear.
Mhm.
They had their minions.
Also tower members.
Also tower members.
I feel compelled to say they looked absolutely stunning. I don't
Mhm.
know, something about it.
Ah,
They did look absolutely stunning.
yes, they did. I don't have to be compelled to say that.
Agreed.
I was shocked how many Lanfears I saw, and not just how many Lanfears I saw, but Lanfear into Lanriad in her black
Yes.
dominatrix.
Doctor Who hat.
Yeah.
Baby
Yeah.
bonnet.
Yeah,
I stand by that.
looking ready to torture some Gallifreyans.
They were also in the costume contest, from what I understand. I think.
Which one?
The Lanfear with the baby bonnet
There was
and the
one,
Rand
yeah.
with the
Yeah, there was
coat.
one, and one of the judges was also dressed that way.
Amazing. Because the Lanfear and the Rand in the coat are husband and wife. And she made that coat. I got pictures with them because I was like, oh my God.
Oh yeah, why wouldn't you?
And I can tell you that those costumes they looked so good up close. Like sometimes cosplay costumes, I go to a lot of anime conventions. Sometimes cosplay costumes look great far away, and then you get up close and you're like, I don't know about this stitch work. Not that I can judge. I can't sew. But I got up close to their costumes, and his jacket could have come off of the set. Like the stitch work on the cranes going up the collar were phenomenal.
Yeah, they've won several times, or several awards. I'm not sure if they've won the grand prize here before, but they've won several awards over the years. And so part of the reason I don't see the costume contest is it's a whole day. Entrants have to fill out a form online, which I then sort, and then they meet several hours before the actual contest itself. And this year I think it went really smoothly, but I had them come in 5-minute increments. They had 5 minutes to talk with the judges. The judges could look at their construction, see the seam work, see how it was constructed, and get some clarification from them on what went into it so that they could properly judge their construction and their techniques behind it. So they do that, and then everybody assembles around 5 o'clock, at which point we have Mark Gunn from the Brobegin Bards. I think I'm saying that right. If you're a Ren Fair person, you know. He comes in and plays a few songs while the audience is loading in, and then everybody walks.
He is an amazing hype man.
He is. He's been great, and he's been great this whole, he came last few years now.
If you're at all on the internet, I'm sure you've seen the Whipper guy who does songs.
Jacques the Whipper.
Jacques the Whipper. I think our bard gives him a run for his money, and I would love to see them throw down.
And some of the panels were streamed, including the
costume contest.
Yeah, so you probably can actually see his performance online on YouTube.
And all of these costumes we've been describing.
Look for a link in the show notes.
Fenya, were there any costumes that stood out to you in particular?
There was a Cadsuane that I really liked.
I got a picture of her.
Yeah, she was great.
Was that Jedi Cadsuane?
No, that was just Cadsuane.
That was just Cadsuane.
April?
I don't know.
I don't know who it was.
Okay.
She was working in the dealer hall.
Maybe not.
No, wasn't she in the art show?
Yes, which are both in the same place.
I associate them as two different
They
staff
are
things.
different, but they're in the same place.
But so I really liked her. And then the Lanfear and Rand, I didn't get a good look at them, but they were, from what I saw from a distance, they were quite impressive.
There was an amazing Uno costume. Guy Roberts got several pictures with them.
Yes, because he gave them his Judge's Choice Award in the costume contest.
I also faced off against them at the spear tournament. And I have to give them credit for fighting in the armor.
Yeah. And I think he was saying he tried to do it at first with the patch on and realized he had no depth perception.
That makes sense.
I mean, I get it. I don't have binocular vision either. That's why I can't hit anything.
No.
But yeah, he actually had, in the costume contest, he had a horn sticking out of the back of his head. So when he got on stage, he knelt down.
No.
Oh,
And the audience went, oh.
Wow.
It felt like it was a little unfair with Guy being one of the judges.
Or that's someone who knows exactly what they're doing.
I asked him that. He says, I actually made it before I knew he was coming.
A likely story.
He did say he added the horn after.
Okay. The spike, like the Sean Chan spike? Okay.
Final Guy Roberts highlight.
Probably not.
No.
They gave him walkout music.
That was his idea.
It was one of his requests was like, oh, can I get War Pigs by Black Sabbath to play when I come out? Yeah, we could do that.
And he came out and swore, Wheel of Time swore, not whatever the show made him do, immediately. And I was just like, this man is everything.
He gets it.
Yeah. Like, literally Thursday night while he was on the plane, we got an email that said, I have an idea. I don't know when I'm being introduced, if it's opening ceremonies or what, but can you play War Pigs? And can I come out and say something like, welcome to JordanCon, you bloody goat suckering, whatever it was. I
Goat
forget.
kissing.
Goat kissing.
Flaming something.
So yeah, flaming, I don't know. It was very Wheel of Time, very Uno.
It was very Uno. It was wonderful.
Also on YouTube.
Yes,
Also on YouTube.
on YouTube.
Link in the show notes.
So this year also, Fenya, Dorian, and I got our act together. And I say that because we were going to volunteer last year and we never did. But this year
That
we
doesn't
volunteered.
sound like us.
I know.
We're
us
so
being-
on top of things.
We're obviously.
Where's my beer?
But this year we volunteered for the first time, which was a ton of fun. And I have to say that if you have never volunteered at JordanCon before, like everybody says it's the best way to make friends and like the best way to like learn more about the con, and they're not wrong. Like they say it because it's true. We did load in, which was like honestly not as hard as everybody made it sound, but that's because we had 10 people and they normally don't.
Yes, it went real smooth this year.
Yeah, it was.
Everybody was very happy about it.
You're welcome.
We'll almost certainly. I will certainly do it again.
Yeah,
next year.
that's a shift that I would like to sign up for again next year.
I got commitments from the rest of Fitness Guild at TarValon.net. So, yeah, because Rena said she was she said she was disappointed. She volunteered Con Suite, and they said some light lifting involved. If you don't know, Swole Sedai is not satisfied with some light lifting.
She would have been so happy with load in.
She would have been.
that
that is a shift for her.
There was much lifting and it was not light.
And not the only weightlifter there. I met a friend, Camille, at the loading, and I was...
Who also has a podcast.
Yeah, I was trying to keep up with her. I was like, hey, no, leave me some heavy stuff.
Yep. So that was good. We also did... Fenya and I did Con Suite helping. So we made a little bit of the food. If you attended JordanCon and you had any peanut butter and jelly sandwiches, there's a possibility that Fenya and I made those. And then the last one that I volunteered in the volunteer HQ because I wanted to hang out with Veriendha, who's our no longer digital producer, who we all miss very much. And I was like, this is my one chance to say hello to her. So what was your final show?
I did art show setup.
That's right.
Yeah,
How was that?
which I really enjoyed. I would do that again. I mostly worked helping get the prints checked in. So artists not selling original art, but selling prints. We counted all of them and got them checked in. And yeah, that was great. I'd do it again next year. It was very busy. My shift ended up running long and I could have stayed and helped more, but I was like, I'm out. I got to eat lunch.
And they really take care of you. There's water, there's snacks, there's soda. They did a raffle. Do they always do the raffle?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they'll do the raffle tonight at 8.
Yep.
And we are all of us looking forward to going to the volunteer thank you social and dessert bar.
Which we are probably going to be late to because we talked too long.
Us? We would never.
I know. We're so concise. And Doll, I wanted to give you a chance to talk about staffing and
yeah, there are actually opportunities for staff if you're interested in doing more than just volunteering. I don't know what all the jobs are listed, but they're posted on the website.
Link in the show notes.
Yes. But as I talked about last year, I've been in staff since the first year. And it is a lot of work, and it's a lot of love, and so I come back every year. Like, so many people say, like, when they talk to people and they say, is this my first JordanCon? And the first thing somebody says is, welcome home. Because we've worked hard to build this up like a family. And it is like a family reunion to a lot of us. And including, wait for it, Guy Roberts now.
Really?
Is he going to be back?
He said he wanted to come back. So
Is he going to be
I'm so
staff?
sorry. No.
Okay.
I don't think Amazon would like that. But yeah, if we can swing it, he might be back sometime. Maybe not next year, but we'll see.
That would be awesome. All the more reason for you guys to come to JordanCon if you haven't already been. The other thing that happens at JordanCon every year is the TarValon Toast.
And I missed it again this year.
And it happened again this year.
And I missed it again this year.
Which I'm so sad about.
I have to work.
That part we'll edit
it's
out.
okay.
Doll was there. They had a great time. Everyone loves her.
You wanted to talk about the garrison. Dorian?
Yes, I missed the first part of the toast for what we are looking to build up our garrison once more.
What is the garrison?
The garrison is something from before my time that I am not qualified to talk about, but talk to your guide in, talk to your warders in MDD, where I am aspiring. Talk to Valquerin, talk to SDS, talk to DM. Again, the garrison is something from before my time, and I have been roped into, I hope, some kind of a comeback because I really love the companies. And so this year, we wanted to do a photo shoot as people came into the toast. We pulled them aside. We had some photography, some stunts. Shout out to Sean for doing all of the wonderful photo work and having that set up. And all the photos will feature Guidine soldiers and aspirants like myself with their bondmates, their friends, their allies, and their Aes Sedai posing and a digital frame, not to be missed.
We also had a couple of people on this podcast get raised.
It's true.
Congratulations, Fenya Sedai.
Congratulations, Dianna Sedai.
Thank you. I am now officially green, shocking only myself. Everyone else who met me has said that obviously I was green, and I would not have even guessed it there if my husband had not encouraged me to do so. So
I remember a specific conversation when we were both reading the books for the first time, and you asked me what Aja I thought you were. Early 20s? No, I think
we would have been in high school.
Yeah.
When we were both reading the books.
I said green then.
I maintain I'm a book blue.
I ultimately agreed that blue. But that's because I like agreeing with I like agreeing with Aes Sedai. I'll just put it that way.
Anyway, and Fenya, what?
Yeah, so I'm gray. It was not a surprise to me. I did know I was gray before. So yeah, very, very pleased to have found my family in gray.
Now comes the part of the podcast where we gush about the gray Aja for twice as long as Guy Roberts.
I mean, we could.
The grays are wonderful.
They're lovely. We had a pie buffet.
I'm looking at the pie over there.
Do you want some pie?
Well, we're having dessert in like 20 minutes.
Less than.
That's true.
You want me to do a little Foley and crinkle the pie container into the microphone?
We could.
And there were a couple of bonding ceremonies as well that happened at the toast.
That was gorgeous to see.
It was wonderful. I believe it was Farrell and what is
Xander?
Xander, thank you. Bonded. They did a bonding ceremony.
Rededicated their bond.
Yeah, yes.
They've been bonded for a while, I think.
Which is like a vow renewal, but not the kiss of death. And Alexer and Nem, who's
Polignan Nemiara, I think.
Yes. Did their also rededicated their bond after being bonded for a year. And those ceremonies were both beautiful.
Nem looked so good in the tunic with the foxtail.
Yeah, I liked her outfit.
Yeah. I big shout out to Alexer, one of my mentors on the site, for willing me his aspirant's robe, which he got to wear for all of 5 minutes, I believe, before being raised.
He was not a soldier for very long.
I got to wear it all night tonight. I felt so amazing, and I am looking forward to wearing it when I hope to be raised myself soon.
Is that would it look like a smoking jacket you were walking around in?
No, the black coat. Is that what you're thinking of? No, that's not that one. He has this stunning white coat that has the colors of the four companies.
It's quite literally in the closet over there.
Yeah, actually, we'll put a picture out later. But Dorian is going to go get it for Doll, which will is great content for an auditory medium.
We're just gonna sit here while he walks into the.
It's really beautiful.
That's really cool.
Alexer did a really good job. And you have a fox pin on it to symbolize MDD. How adorable.
Oh, have you aspired to MDD? Did I miss that?
He did aspire MDD.
That doesn't surprise me.
Is there anything else we want to talk about from JordanCon?
I'm looking forward to next year.
Same. Can't wait.
The dates are out already. So
April 25th to 27th. Mm-hmm. Mark your calendars now.
And the artist guest of honor, whose name is completely escaping me, is the artist that did the concept art for the costumes on the show.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Oh, that's going to be some really interesting panels.
Mm-hmm.
because one of the things I said last year that I wanted to see more of was like behind the scenes guests from the show come to JordanCon. So I missed leave takings. I was taking a nap, making good life decisions.
Again, up till 4.
Yes. So I missed that announcement, but I'm really excited about that.
The save the date cards have been out on the tables too.
I thought those got recollected for reasons.
There was a mistake on the first ones. There's some that are correct.
Okay.
Yesterday was the 20th, right?
Yes.
Sure.
Sorry, we can
Today
edit
is the 21st.
We can edit that part out. I was gonna make a Blaze It joke. We've plugged a lot about JordanCon. I want to plug the TarValon Talks podcast that you are currently listening to a little bit.
If you're not listening to our podcast, listen to our podcast.
Well, not just that, but I think we really can contribute more to JordanCon, and I want to see the White Tower start putting some people on panels and hosting them. And
I believe you have a master plan to get me on the Bond Balefire Igloo panel, though, which I'm not going to say no to.
didn't we open this podcast by joking about how we are not very together and don't do master plans?
Yes.
But if you have ideas and if you think there's more that we can contribute and more that the tower can contribute to JordanCon and you like being here.
Yes. So I'm the official TarValon.net conference coordinator, which basically just means that I organize the toast.
That's not a just. That is hard work.
Okay.
It's wrangling cats.
But if you have ideas for a panel that you would like either TarValon.net to do, or if you're a site member and want to be on a panel, reach out to me and we'll make it happen.
Where do they reach out to you at?
You can find me on the site, Fenya. I do have an email, but I don't actually remember what the conference coordinator email is. But yeah.
We can include it in the show notes.
Yeah.
Take a shot every time Dorian says link in the show notes.
Alrighty. And since I think we are really getting off the rails and I really want to go eat some volunteer dessert that we worked really hard for and staff dessert that Doll worked really hard for.
I want some bananas Foster.
Oh man, is that going to be down there?
Yeah.
Thank you so much for joining us on TarValon Talks. If you have any questions or topics you'd like us to talk about, feel free to send us an email to producer.tvt@gmail.com, or you can join us on TarValon.net. In our general forums, we have a special thread called TarValon Talks pinned at the top of the page. You can also chat with us via TarValon.net's Discord server in the TarValon Talks Discord channel. Stay tuned for our exclusive interview with Guy Roberts.
Hello, everyone. It's scholarship time. Specifically, it's time for the Robert Jordan Memorial Scholarship. That's right, the TarValon community wants to support students who are striving to be servants of all. To that end, we are offering scholarships to 2 students this year of $500 each. Students in this case can be undergraduates, graduates, or non-traditional certification program takers. So apply now. Applications will be accepted until May 15th. You can apply through the TarValon website. The scholarship info is under the links drop-down menu at the top of the page. The main part of the application is an essay about how you will use your education in a way that exemplifies being a servant of all. Scholarships will be awarded in July. Read more online, and good luck!
Welcome to this special edition of TarValon Talks. We are joined today by Guy Roberts, who has blessed us by playing Uno No Mesta in Amazon Prime's Wheel of Time. Thank you for joining us, Guy.
Thank you, Thad and Dianna.
So to start off, we have a couple simple questions. One of the first ones is, if you could play one other character in the Wheel of Time besides Uno, who would you want to play and why?
Lanfear.
Lanfear?
No. Although Lanfear is amazing. For me, Lan, when I was reading the books, it was always, that's the guy that you want to aspire to be. Obviously, as I've gotten older, I read the books when they first came out, and you identify with different characters at different ages. So when I was a bit younger and more wild, it was always about Matt. And then it became about Rand. And now in my old age, I'm really feeling Perrin too. And I think that's also because I had such a great experience working with Marcus. And Marcus is such a fantastic giving actor. But it's always about Lan. Always Lan for me.
I feel you on that Perrin statement, because when I was younger, didn't like him. When I've gotten older, I've kind of shifted over to really liking him.
Yeah.
I'm not quite on the Perrin train yet, but we'll see.
Oh, come on now, Dianna.
You are an accomplished Shakespeare actor as well as your role of Uno. So does Uno remind you of any other role that you've played?
A bit, but actually, Uno is such a unique characterization, and I think it was so. From my perspective, Uno was so important to Robert Jordan too, and I think one of the most undervalued aspects of Uno is at the end of the Great Hunt, when he spent the whole time just staring at Rand, and Rand thinks Uno hates him. And what Uno was really doing was deciding, all right, I'm going to follow this guy. And I think it was really important in the books that the first person to swear to Rand is Uno. Because if you can get Uno's respect, then you can lead us into the last battle.
I completely agree with that. I just finished The Great Hunt yesterday on my reread, and I got chills reading that part and got chills hearing you talk about it now.
To follow up with your Shakespearean background, what Shakespeare tropes do you think are most prominent in The Wheel of Time?
That's super easy. Women are amazing, boys are stupid. That's in all Shakespeare plays. Every comedy is about these amazing, intelligent, vibrant, exciting females who are somehow attached to these idiotic men. And I think we see that with Nynaeve and Egwene and obviously Moraine and everyone else in Wheel of Time.
I think that's a pretty good answer, wouldn't you?
I'm not going to argue with it. What is your favorite swords fight in Shakespeare?
Oh, Shakespeare's is probably easy. It's Hamlet, simply because, you know, when Olivier did the film in 1948, he won the Oscar for it. It was the longest sword fight in on film history, and that was my introduction to Shakespeare. But, you know, Hamlet's an amazing sword fight because after he gets stabbed and poisoned, he still goes on and beats the guy. So it's a pretty exciting fight.
And then what is your favorite sword fight in The Wheel of Time?
That's so hard. What are you doing to me? Well, you know, you got to go with Matt, even though it's not technically a sword on sword. I mean, you know, Matt against the idiot boys in the tower. That's just so classic. Yeah, that's amazing. But also, Gladden and Valda is a great sword fight. Obviously, Rand and Turok. I mean, all of them. You know, listen, I know there's some haters out there. I like the land fight in the last battle.
That's a great fight, honestly.
I think we've got time for a couple more questions.
Yeah, bring it on.
So, how did you bring your stage experience to the role of Uno?
Well, I'm not quite sure, because in some ways it is such a different thing. I think that more than the stage experience, being a fan of the books and having read the books several times before I was even cast, before I even knew there was a TV show, having that background, it gave me a confidence that I knew who Uno was. And, you know, I'm a huge Rafe fan. I'm 100% Team Rafe, and I've had great conversations with Rafe. And I know there's so many decisions that go into everything, and you know, the hours and hours and days and months of thinking about the changes and things that you have to do to make a good TV show. And being able to have those conversations with Rafe when I had a really strong background in the story, I think really helped me and settled me.
Okay.
How do we get to be a fly on the wall for those conversations? I'm kidding.
There are Amazon ninjas everywhere. Watch out.
Speaking of, how many eye patches did they give you? And did you get to keep any of them?
Okay, well, officially for Amazon, I did not keep any eye patches.
Of course.
There were a couple, so I would have a training eye patch when I was horseback riding or fighting with the stunties. I had a shooting one. In season 1, actually, there was only one main eye patch, and it didn't have a hole, so I really couldn't see. But on season 2, they did a tiny, tiny mesh hole in it, which really helped, like at the battle at Atuan's Mill and things like that, because it's super hard at night in the dark to fight with one eye, and it throws your balance off and everything. And I remember actually the first time I met Rosamund, She had some great eye patch advice for me because she's obviously worn an eye patch in films. And, the one thing she said to watch out for were stairs. So sure enough, on season 1, I had to walk downstairs looking cool, and thank God I didn't trip. That's all I was thinking about the whole time.
Gives you a real appreciation for people who actually have to wear an eye patch and then who were soldiers and had to fight.
Oh, it's
one-eyed.
totally mental. It made me love Uno even more.
For our final question for this interview is, what are you looking most forward to here at JordanCon?
Oh, just meeting all the fans. Already the vibe is incredible. Everyone seems so nice. There's a real spirit of generosity in the air. And it's really great to start putting faces to all the names and the people I've seen online on the social media accounts and everything. So I'm super psyched to be here.
We're glad to have you too.
Great. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.